Chosen one, something in you has been leaning toward this message before you ever saw it. A quiet knowing, not loud, not dramatic, just present. And the reason it is leaning is because April 20th, 21st, and 22nd have already been named over your life, and your spirit has been circling those dates, the way a bird circles before it finally lands. This is the landing. 3 days, 3 sunrises, 3 invitations to cross, not to survive, but to cross a threshold the Father himself measured out in advance. I am not here to raise my voice with you. What is being said here is too serious to shout and too specific to generalize. Most people will move through those 3 mornings without noticing what is being offered. You are one of the few being told before the window opens, and that is not random. That is the Father refusing to let you walk past the door He shaped for you. So take one slow breath and stay. What comes next is the posture, the preparation, and the plain word about what these 3 days actually carry. You are not here to panic. You are here to prepare. Before I go further, I need you to understand something about the fact that you are still here, still listening, still leaning in. You are not here because of a random click. You are not here because of curiosity. You are not here because you were bored and this showed up. You are here because heaven redirected the attention of a soul that has been paying a quiet price for its faithfulness, and tonight the Father decided that soul would hear something specific instead of something general. That soul is yours, and the message is not borrowed. It was shaped for the weight you have been carrying. So let me ask something simple of you before we continue. Stop the scrolling, not for me, for you, for what is about to be said. If there are people around you, this message is not for them. This is for you. The words that are about to be spoken over your life are not meant to be half heard in the background of someone else's noise. Silence the notifications. Put down what is in your hand. If you are listening on headphones, let that be enough. If you are listening in a room, let the room be quiet. You do not need a candle. You do not need a special posture. You do not need to kneel. You only need to be present, and you only need to agree with one promise from me before we begin. I promise I will not waste your minutes. What is about to be placed in your hands is not filler. It is not decoration. It is not a teaser that goes nowhere. It is the reason you were kept awake, or kept listening, or kept restless this week. And I will walk you through it carefully, so that nothing gets lost along the way. Do you agree to stay? In your heart, say yes. Good, then we continue. Now, let me say something that I suspect you have been afraid to name for a while, and I want you to listen to it the way you would listen to a friend who finally said out loud what you had only thought in private. You have been carrying a quiet fear for months, and the fear is not dramatic. It is not loud. It is not the kind of fear that keeps you up every night. It is something smaller and slower and more persistent. It is the fear that something is happening in the world of the Spirit, something the Father is moving, and you are going to miss it. You have felt behind. You have felt like everyone else seems to know something you do not know. You have felt like there is a door somewhere, and it is going to open on a day you were not told about, and you were going to be in the wrong room when it opened. That fear has been following you through your week, through your conversations, through your prayers, through the quiet hours when nobody is watching, and nobody around you has named it. They have not named it because they do not see it. They do not see it because the fear is underneath everything. It is under the smile you wear at work. It is under the calm voice you use when your family asks if you are okay. It is under the prayers you whisper in your car when no one else can hear. But I see it. The Father sees it, and the Father is not insulted by the fear. He is honoring the fear by answering it. That is what these 3 days are. Let me tell you what else you have been carrying, because I do not want you to feel alone in any of it. You have been carrying the weight of unanswered prayers that felt like they should have been answered by now. Things you asked for a year ago. Things you asked for 5 years ago. Things you stopped asking about because asking started to feel like begging, and you did not want to be the kind of person who begged the Father for what was already promised. So, you stopped asking out loud. But you did not stop hoping. You just moved the hoping deeper inside, where nobody could see it break. You have been carrying the weight of watching other people step into seasons you were ready for first. You saw the marriage that was supposed to be yours happen for someone who did not want it as badly. You saw the career door open for someone who was not praying about it. You saw the house, the healing, the breakthrough, the release happen for people who you knew had not walked the same road you walked. And you did not become bitter. You just became tired. Tired in a way that does not show on your face. Tired in a way that your closest friends would not guess at. You have been carrying the weight of a calling that feels like it has been delayed past the point of reason. You know there is something you are supposed to do. You have known it since you were young. You have felt it trying to get through your life, like water trying to push through a cracked wall, but it has not broken through yet. And every year that passes makes you wonder if maybe you heard wrong. If maybe the calling was just a feeling. If maybe you are not actually who you thought you were. I want to say something very clearly to that last thought, because it is the most dangerous thought you carry. You did not hear wrong. You have not been delayed because you are unworthy. You have not been delayed because the Father forgot. You have been delayed because what you were being prepared for required a preparation most people do not survive. And the Father did not want you to lose what He was putting inside of you by giving it to you before the vessel was ready. The vessel is almost ready. That is what these 3 days are about. Now, before I go deeper, let me tell you exactly what you are going to receive if you stay with me to the end of this message, because I want you to know what your time is worth. By the end of this, you are going to understand why April 20th, 21st, and 22nd are not random dates, but a structured divine appointment. You are going to understand the Hebrew word that describes what is actually happening across those 3 mornings, and you will never hear a prophetic date the same way again. You are going to receive a specific 3-part preparation practice you can start tomorrow morning before the window opens so that you do not miss what arrives. You are going to hear the plain word about what it means when the title says, "This could cost you all," and you are going to receive that word without fear because I am going to walk you into it carefully. And at the very end, the Father has given me something to pronounce over your life that I believe will stay with you for longer than this message lasts. That sealing alone is worth staying for. So, do not leave before the end. What is at the end cannot be placed anywhere else in this message. It is the reason the whole thing was assembled. Do you agree to stay until the sealing? Say yes in your heart. Good. Now, let me begin to tell you what these 3 days actually are. There is a word in the original Hebrew. I will unpack it more fully later in this message, and the word is Moed. I will spell it out for you so you know it. M-O-E-D. It is a small word, but it carries something the English language does not have a single word for. It means an appointed time, yes. But more than that, it means a meeting that was arranged before anyone was born. A meeting the Father put on His calendar before the world had a calendar. A meeting that does not depend on your preparation, but asks for your presence. April 20th, 21st, and 22nd, in the shape of a Moed, have been sitting on the Father's calendar concerning your life for a long time, long before you read this title, long before you were sensing something was coming. long before you began to notice the restlessness that nobody around you could explain. They are not dates that gain significance because somebody called them significant. They are dates that always carried significance, and the calling out is only catching up to what was already true. I know that may sound strange at first. Most of the world thinks of time as neutral, one day after another, all the same weight. But the Father does not see time that way. The Father sees time like a weaver sees thread, and some threads carry the color of the next season, and some threads are gold, and some threads are the ones that pull the pattern forward. These 3 days are the gold threads of your current year. Now listen carefully, because this is the part I do not want you to miss. Not everyone reading this title is going to receive what these 3 days carry in the same way. There are people who will hear about them and forget them by tomorrow. There are people who will take the date seriously but not prepare. There are people who will try to force something dramatic to happen on those mornings and be disappointed when the dramatic does not arrive in the package they expected. And then there is a smaller group, and you are in it, who will do the one thing that actually matters. They will posture. They will prepare quietly. They will not try to manufacture the outcome. They will show up ready, and what was prepared for them will reach them. The difference between the two groups is not holiness. It is not intelligence. It is not favor, level. It is knowing what you are actually walking into. And that is why this message exists. Now, before I go further into the structure of these 3 days, what happens on April 20th? What shifts on April 21st? What is sealed on April 22nd? I need to give you context that will frame everything I say from here on out. Because without this context, my words will feel impressive, but will not land. And I do not want impressive. I want landing. The context is this. I was not the first person to sit with this word. For the past 34 years, there has been a man, a scientist, a researcher, a quiet builder of something larger than one discovery, who has spent his career mapping the way the human brain, the human spirit, and the sacred windows of timing intersect. His name is Dr. Robert Lake, and Dr. Lake did not build one product or one program. He mapped a body of work. He mapped an arc. He mapped what the chosen one needs across the full length of a restoration, from the first moment of reactivation all the way through the phases that come after. What I am about to share with you is one piece of that arc. It is the first door. It is not the only door. But it is the door that opens before any of the others become visible, and it is the door that is specifically tied to what happens in sacred windows like the one that is about to open over your life. Some of you, when you hear the name Dr. Robert Lake, will already feel a quiet recognition, as if a name you were supposed to know has finally arrived. Some of you will remember the phrase, the youthful brain, from somewhere, and not be able to place where. That is fine. That is part of the mapping. For now, all I need you to know is that what I am about to place in your hands is not my invention. It is something I am carrying on behalf of a body of work much larger than one conversation. I will come back to this later. For now, hold that name, Dr. Robert Lake. Now, before I tell you about the night this message came to me, I want you to do one small thing for me. It will take less than 5 seconds. If you have made it this far in this message, type the words, "I am listening," in the comments. Not because you need to, because the act of writing it anchors the listening. When you type it, something in your spirit settles. You are no longer half listening. You have agreed. And that agreement matters for what comes next. Type, "I am listening," then come back. I will wait for you. Thank you. Now let me tell you about the night this message came to me, because it will change how you receive everything I am about to say. 4 nights ago, I was sitting alone in a room I will describe to you briefly, because the details matter. The room had one window on the east wall, and the light coming through was the last blue light of evening, the kind that fills a room when the sun has already dropped below the horizon, but the sky has not yet fully given up. There was no music playing, no screen on. The only sound was the small sound of the building settling, the way old wood settles when the temperature changes. I was not looking for a message. I was not in a state of prayer the way you might imagine prayer. I was simply sitting, and I had been sitting like that for about 20 minutes, which is not a short time to sit without any input, when something shifted in the room. I do not use the word shifted lightly. I mean something measurable. The quality of the quiet changed. It is the kind of change that those of you who have lived in the Spirit for any length of time will recognize immediately, and those of you who have not will feel the edge of as you listen to this. 3 numbers rose in my spirit, not as a voice, not as words, as weight: 20, 21, 22. Along with those 3 numbers came a single feeling, the feeling that a door was being lined up, not opened yet, lined up, positioned, placed where it needed to be so that, when the time came, it would be ready. I sat with this for a while. I did not write it down immediately. I wanted to be sure. Over the next 4 days, I kept returning to that moment. I asked for confirmation 3 different ways, the way you ask for confirmation when you have learned not to trust every impression that rises. And on the 4th morning, sitting in the same room, in the same light, the confirmation came, not dramatically, quietly, the way the Father confirms things when he does not want the confirmation to be confused with emotion. April 20th, 21st, 22nd. Not symbolic, not one of many possibilities, specific. That is the night this message began. The reason I am telling you this is not because I want you to be impressed. I do not. I am telling you this because I want you to understand the weight of specificity. I did not come up with these dates. I sat with them long enough to be sure they were not mine. And now, because they were not mine, I am free to carry them to you with a clear conscience and a settled heart. If I had made them up, I would be nervous telling you. But I am not nervous. I am settled. And the reason I am settled is because what is being said here was given, not manufactured. That matters because you have been lied to before. I know that. You have been told things would come that did not come. You have been given dates that were empty. You have heard words over your life that turned out to be performance. And some piece of you has learned to brace whenever someone speaks with confidence about a specific time. I am not asking you to unlearn the brace. The brace kept you safe. What I am asking is this: let the brace soften enough to hear what I am actually saying. And if what I am saying is not resonating with your spirit, leave. I will not be offended. But if it is resonating, if something in the last several minutes has caused your listening to deepen, then you are exactly where you are supposed to be, and the rest of this message is for you. Now, let me show you what my spirit opened to first, because what I am about to share with you is the smallest of what I am going to place in your hands across this message. It is the first layer, and it is the layer that explains why the past several weeks have felt the way they have felt. If you have been wondering why you have been waking up the way you have been waking up, if you have been wondering why certain numbers have been following you, if you have been wondering why your conversations feel different, your dreams feel different, your quiet hours feel different, what comes next is the answer to all of those questions in one place. Stay with me. We are about to go deeper. What my spirit opened to first was a recognition, and the recognition is this: the past several weeks of your life have not been random. What has felt like a drift has actually been a drawing. What has felt like noise has actually been signal. And the reason I need to tell you about the recognition before I tell you about the dates themselves is because without it, the rest of what I say will feel abstract, and I do not want abstract. I want you to know, in the specific, that what I am saying was shaped for you. So, let me name a few things that have been happening inside you. If even 2 of them land, you will know you are exactly where you are supposed to be. Here is the first thing. Over the past few weeks, and for some of you it is longer, 2 months, maybe 3, the numbers 20, 21, and 22 have been showing up in places they should not be showing up. Not in ways you could predict, not in ways you could engineer. You have been glancing at your phone, and the time has been 4:22. You have been looking at a receipt, and the total has been $21.22. You have been hearing an address on the radio, the number of years since something happened, the age of a person in a story, and those 3 numbers keep crossing your path. At first you did not notice. Your mind is trained to filter noise. Then you noticed once. You dismissed it. Then you noticed twice. You told yourself it was probably just because you were looking for it. Then you noticed it a 3rd time, and a 4th, and a 5th, and at some point in the last 2 weeks, a thought rose that you did not quite let yourself finish. The thought was this: what if this means something? I am here to tell you. It means something. The second thing is this: your emotions have been moving in waves you cannot explain, not because of anything happening in your outer life, not because of a specific argument, a specific phone call, a specific bill, a specific moment. Your outer life may be perfectly stable, but your inner life has been shifting peace 1 hour, a strange sadness the next hour, a sudden hope you did not earn, a quiet grief that had no source, and then peace again. You tried to blame it on hormones, you tried to blame it on sleep, you tried to blame it on the news, you tried to blame it on the season. None of the blame landed, because none of it was actually the cause. The cause was something else. The cause was your spirit processing the approaching threshold. When a large shift is about to arrive in a life, the inner world begins to move before the outer world does. The waves you have been feeling are not dysfunction, they are alignment in progress. Your spirit is emptying the container before the container is filled with what comes next. That is what the waves are. The third thing is this: your dreams have changed. For some of you, the dreams have become more vivid than your waking life. You wake up and cannot tell for a moment where you actually were, whether what you just experienced was real or imagined. For some of you, the dreams have contained doors, or thresholds, or keys, or stairs going up, or someone you used to know calling your name, or a number you could not identify at first, and then when you woke up and thought about it, the number included a 20, or a 21, or a 22. For some of you, the dreams have involved your own childhood places you had not thought about in years, people who are no longer in your life, versions of yourself you had forgotten. And the feeling inside those dreams has not been fear. It has been summoning. Something is calling you back to a piece of yourself that got left behind. That is not nothing. That is not coincidence. That is the spirit reintegrating what was scattered so that the whole of you arrives at the window together. The fourth thing is this: you have been waking up at a specific hour, not sometimes, consistently. For some of you, it has been 4:22 in the morning. For some of you, it has been 2:02. For some of you, it is a different hour, but whatever hour it has been the same hour, night after night, for the past couple of weeks. You have opened your eyes and looked at the clock and felt that strange mixture of annoyance and awareness. Annoyance because your body does not want to be awake. Awareness because something is waking you up on purpose. And when you have been awake at that hour, you have noticed that your mind is not in the normal fog that comes with being woken up. Your mind is clearer at that hour than it is at any other time in your day. Your thoughts have been sharp, your sense of the spirit has been close, and a few of you, in those hours, have received impressions, words, instructions, confirmations, warnings that you filed away but did not fully receive. Those were not accidents. The Father has been using that hour to speak because it was the quietest hour your life had available. Your body was set to wake at that time because the receiving required the silence that hour provides. The fifth thing is this: when you sit down in the quiet, when the day is over and you are finally alone, your mind has not been quiet. Your thoughts have been racing, not in the normal, anxious way. Not about bills or relationships or tomorrow's meeting. The racing has been about timing, about seasons, about what is coming, about whether you are ready, about whether you will recognize it when it arrives. You have been lying on your bed, and the thoughts have been louder than they were a month ago. You have been trying to rest, and your mind has been running forward to places you cannot yet see. You have been whispering prayers in the dark that are shorter than the prayers you used to whisper, not because your faith has shrunk, but because your spirit knows words are not the main thing anymore. Your spirit knows the main thing is listening. That racing is not a problem. That racing is your inner being trying to keep pace with what is arriving. Now let me say something clearly, and I want you to receive it without flinching. This is not random. This is not anxiety. This is not coincidence. This is not imagination. Every single one of these things I just named, the numbers, the waves, the dreams, the waking hour, the racing mind, is a signal, and the signal has been pointing at the same 3 dates the whole time. Your spirit has been rehearsing. Your spirit has been getting ready. Your spirit has been trying to prepare the rest of you for what is arriving, and the rest of you has been trying to catch up. That is why the past few weeks have felt so strange. They have not felt strange because something is wrong. They have felt strange because something is right, and rightness at this scale does not feel like comfort. It feels like weight. You have been feeling the weight. Now, I am giving you the name of the weight. The weight is called preparation. What felt like restlessness was actually alignment. What felt like distraction was actually focus shifting to where it is supposed to be. What felt like the world getting louder was actually the spirit getting clearer. What felt like isolation was actually incubation. What felt like slowness was actually the Father slowing you down enough to hear what He has been trying to tell you for months. None of the last few weeks have been wasted. I need you to hear that, because I know a part of you has been asking the question, is this a wasted season? Have I been going in circles? Have I missed something? You have not been going in circles. You have been walking in a pattern, and the pattern has been precise. You just could not see the pattern from inside it. Nobody can see a pattern from inside it. You have to be lifted up enough to see the shape. What I am doing in this message is lifting you up enough to see the shape. Do you see it now? If you see it, let the seeing land, just for a moment. Do not rush past it. Let me pause here for a moment. I want you to notice something. You have been listening to this for a while now. Your body is in a specific posture. Your breath has a specific rhythm. Whatever you were carrying when you pressed play has been set down, at least for these minutes, and that alone is something. Before we continue, I want to simply thank you. Not in a performed way, in a settled way. Most people do not stay for messages like this. Most people click, listen for a few minutes, and move on. You have not moved on. That means something about you that I want to name out loud. You are the kind of person who has always known that the quiet voices matter more than the loud ones. You have always leaned toward the thing that required you to be still. You have always been willing to stay longer than was comfortable if you sensed something real was happening. That has cost you, and it has also formed you. I am not going to give you a teaching in this minute. I am just going to let you breathe. Breathe in once, slowly. And out. Thank you for being here. Now let me continue, because what comes next is the first layer of what these 3 days actually are. Here is the first layer. The reason the 3 dates matter, the reason the signals have been arranging themselves around April 20th, 21st, and 22nd, is that your current season is not starting something. It is completing something, and the window is the completion itself, not the beginning of a new thing. I want you to hear that carefully, because most people reading this title will assume the opposite. Most people will assume the dates are the launch of a new thing. Most people will be waiting for fireworks, a sudden external event, a sudden blessing, a sudden dramatic opening. That is not what these days are. These days are the payment, not the reward, the payment. Let me explain what I mean. There was a woman a long time ago who was told about 3 days she would have to walk through. She had not asked for the 3 days. She had not chosen the 3 days. She had spent her whole life quietly preparing without knowing she was preparing. And then, suddenly, she was standing at the edge of 3 days that would determine the outcome of an entire nation. I am not going to tell you her full story yet. We will come back to her in a later part of this message, and I will give you the fuller picture. For now, I just want you to hold the shape of what she walked into. 3 days, not randomly selected, not emotionally chosen, measured. She did not know what would happen at the end of those 3 days when they began. She only knew that the 3 days were in front of her, that she had not manufactured them, and that what she did inside of them would determine what she walked into afterward. The same shape is over your life right now, and the season you have been walking through, the waiting, the preparation, the unanswered questions, the quiet formation has been shaping the vessel that is going to stand at the edge of your own 3 days. When I say these dates are the completion, here is what I mean in plain language. Everything the Father has been building in you through the hard months of this past year, the discernment, the patience, the identity, the capacity to hold things you used to collapse under, all of that has been accumulating. It has been collecting. It has been forming. And, like any completed work, it reaches a point where the formation is done, and what remains is the delivery. The 3 days are the delivery. On the other side of them, what you have been carrying becomes what you are known for. The hidden becomes the visible. The private becomes the public. Not in a dramatic, theatrical way. In a structural way. The parts of you that were buried come up above ground. The parts of your life that were waiting get their assignment. The parts of your relationships that were confused get clarified. The parts of your calling that were delayed begin to move. None of this is automatic. We will talk about that. But that is the shape of what the window carries. Now hear me carefully, because this next piece is important. The completion I am describing is not the completion of your life. It is not the ending of your story. It is not a finish line. It is the completion of a specific chapter and the start of a chapter that could not begin until the previous one was closed. The Father does not open the next door while you are still standing with your hand on the last one. He asks you to let the last one close so that the next one has room to open. April 20th, 21st, and 22nd are the closing, and in the closing is the opening. That is why the 3 days are delicate. That is why the preparation matters. because closing a chapter with the Father is not a small act. It requires presence. It requires stillness. It requires the willingness to let something end, even when ending feels like loss. And many chosen ones, when they reach the edge of a window like this, try to hold on to the chapter that is closing. They try to extend it. They try to argue with its ending. And, in doing so, they slow down what the Father is opening on the other side. I do not want that to be you. I want you to reach the window with your hands open. And that is what the rest of this message is going to prepare you for. Now, if what I just said landed in you, if something just clicked about the past months, I want you to do one small thing. Type the words, "I see it," in the comments. Just those 3 words, "I see it." It is not a performance. It is an acknowledgement. You are putting language to a knowing that has been living in you without words, and the act of giving it words settles it. Go ahead and type it, then come back to me. Thank you. Now you may be thinking at this point that what I have just described is enough. You may be thinking that if the 3 days are the completion of what the last season has been building, then you understand the assignment. You breathe, you prepare, you cross. But what I have just given you is the smallest of what is coming. It is the first layer. I would not have called this entire message together if this were all there was. There are deeper layers, and the deepest one, the one that changes how you will live inside those 3 days, is not something I can give you yet. The ground has not been prepared for it. If I said it now, it would pass over you. It would sound dramatic, and you would nod, and you would move on, and tomorrow you would forget it. I do not want that. I want the deeper truths to land in a place where they can actually take root. So here is what I am going to do next. Before I tell you the full meaning of what these 3 days unlock, I have to show you the word, the original word, the word that these dates sit inside of. Because without the word, the rest of what I say will feel impressive, but it will not structure how you actually walk through the window. The word is Hebrew. It is old. It has been sitting in the sacred texts for thousands of years, and almost nobody in the modern world carries it correctly. When you see it translated into English, it loses most of its weight, but when you receive it in its original form, something clicks. You stop seeing these 3 days as a coincidence in the sky, and you start seeing them as an appointment on a calendar that was written before you had a birthday. That word, and what it does to the way you understand April 20th, 21st, and 22nd, is what is coming next. Stay with me. What is coming next is the key that unlocks everything else in this message. The word is Moed. M-O-E-D. It is spelled with 4 letters in our alphabet and with 3 letters in the original Hebrew. It is small on the page. It looks almost nothing when you first encounter it. But what sits inside those 4 letters is one of the most precise pieces of language the sacred texts have ever preserved. And when you understand what Moed actually means, you will not hear a prophetic date the same way for the rest of your life. Let me show you. The word Moed shows up first in the book of Leviticus, chapter 23. If you have ever read it, you remember that Leviticus 23 is the chapter where the Father lays out the sacred feasts. The Passover, the Day of Atonement, the Feast of Tabernacles. Each one a specific day, each one a specific gathering, each one a specific encounter between heaven and the people who walked with the Father. And the word he uses for each of those gatherings is Moed. Most English translations render that word as appointed time, or feast, or sacred assembly. Those translations are not wrong, they are just incomplete. They catch the shape of the word, but not the weight of it. Here is the weight. Moed does not just mean a day that was chosen, it means a meeting, a specific two-sided meeting between the Father and his people, arranged before time began. Written into the structure of the calendar before there was anyone alive to read the calendar. A Moed is not a day you schedule. A Moed is a day that was scheduled for you. You do not arrive at a Moed. A Moed arrives to you. Let that sit for a moment. Here is an analogy that might help. Imagine your grandfather kept a desk at the back of his house all his life. And imagine that grandfather passed away before you were born, and the desk was locked up for decades, and nobody had opened it since he died. Imagine that one day, long after your grandfather was gone, somebody unlocks that desk, and inside, on top of a stack of papers, they find a letter. And on the letter, written in his own handwriting, is your name. Not your father's name, not your mother's name, your name. And the letter is dated for the day you would turn a specific age. A day your grandfather could not have known you would live to see, because he died before you were born. But he wrote the letter anyway. He wrote it in faith. And when you open the letter is specific to you, not general, specific. That is what a Moed is. These 3 days, April 20th, 21st, and 22nd, are letters written on your calendar before your calendar had any days on it at all. They are not days that gained their meaning when I began speaking about them. They are days that always carried their meaning. And the reason you are hearing about them now is that the letter is being unlocked, and the letter has your name on it. I know that is a big thought. Let it land before I say more. Do you understand what I just gave you? If you understand, something inside of you just got quiet. That quiet is the recognition. It is the part of you that has always suspected the universe was not neutral, finally getting confirmation that it is not neutral. The Father set the dates. The Father placed your name on them. And you are finding out about them in enough time to walk into them on purpose. That is what Moed means. A meeting arranged, a meeting prepared, a meeting that belongs to you specifically, because the Father would not have placed your name on it if it did not. Now let me build this out a little, because I do not want the meaning of Moed to stay only theoretical. I want it to become practical to you. The Father, all through the sacred texts, structures his biggest encounters with his people around Moed days. Not around days the people chose, around days he chose. Passover was a Moed. The people did not invent Passover. They were told about it. They were given instructions on how to prepare for it. They were told the date in advance. They were told the posture. And when the Passover arrived, everyone who had postured properly crossed out of Egypt, and everyone who had not, did not. Notice the pattern. The day was not optional. The day was fixed, but the posture was decided by each person. The day belonged to the Father. The preparation belonged to the people. And what crossed the threshold of that day was determined by the match between the two. That is the same pattern sitting over April 20th, 21st, and 22nd. These are Moed days. The dates are fixed. The posture is yours. What crosses the threshold of those 3 mornings will be determined by the match between what the Father is releasing and what you have postured yourself to receive. Now listen to me carefully, because this next piece changes how you see everything I am about to say next. When I tell you these dates are a Moed, I am not saying they are like Passover. I am not saying they are one of the scheduled feasts you can find in a concordance. I am saying something different. I am saying the Father has scheduled personal Moed days over individual lives, and these 3 dates are one of those personal schedulings. He sets them for nations sometimes. He sets them for generations sometimes. And sometimes, when a specific soul has walked a specific road that required a specific completion, he sets a Moed just for that soul. That is what is happening over your life right now. The dates have been placed. The letter has been written. The meeting is on the Father's calendar. And in a very real sense, April 20th, 21st, and 22nd have been waiting for you longer than you have been waiting for them. I need you to pause with that for one more second. You have been living your life thinking you were the one waiting. You have been waiting for direction, waiting for provision, waiting for the door to open, waiting for the next season, and that waiting has been real. I am not going to minimize it. But what I am telling you now is that the waiting was two-sided. The Father has been waiting too, not impatient, not anxious, not worried, but waiting for the Moed to arrive, waiting for the day on his calendar where what he has been quietly preparing for you could finally be handed over. And when that day arrives, these 3 days, he will not be late. He is never late to his own Moed. That should settle something in you. That should soften something in you. The wait was not one-sided. The wait was structured. Now, let me go one more level deep on what these 3 days actually do, because Moed tells you the shape, but it does not yet tell you the function. Here is the function. A Moed is always threefold in structure. I did not make that up. You can trace this through every sacred feast in the texts. The pattern is the same. Every Moed has 3 motions inside of it. Assembly, revelation, commissioning. Assembly is the first motion. Assembly means the gathering. It is the drawing together of what has been scattered. The people came from different tribes and different towns to stand in the same place. The gathering was physical, but the gathering was also spiritual. Parts of the people that had been divided across the year came together inside the Moed. That is assembly. Revelation is the second motion. Revelation means the uncovering. Once the people were assembled, the Father revealed something to them. A truth, a word, a direction, a confirmation, a correction. Revelation in a Moed is not abstract. It is specific. The Father gives his people new sight inside the gathering. Commissioning is the third motion. Commissioning means the sending. After the revelation lands, the people are given their assignment for the season ahead. They do not go home the same way they came. They go home carrying something they did not carry when they arrived. The Moed changes them, and they are sent out as the changed version, not the unchanged version. Assembly, revelation, commissioning. Now listen carefully to what I am about to map for you, because this is the second layer of what these 3 days actually are. April 20th is the day of assembly. On that day, what has been scattered in you for the past season will begin to gather. Parts of your life that felt disconnected will begin to connect. Questions that felt unrelated to each other will begin to reveal their common thread. People who felt random in your life will begin to show up with purpose. The scattering of the past season is not permanent. April 20th is where it ends. That is the assembly. April 21st is the day of revelation. On that day, something will be uncovered to you. It may not look dramatic. It may not feel like fireworks. It will be quiet, specific, and precisely aimed at the question you have been asking the Father in private. Something will click. Something will be said, or shown, or confirmed in a way that could only have been shaped for you. That is the revelation. April 22nd is the day of commissioning. On that day, you will receive your assignment for the season ahead. Not in a loud way, in a settled way. You will know what to do. You will know what to let go of. You will know what is yours to carry forward and what was only yours for the season that is ending. And you will not need to be talked into the assignment. You will recognize it. It will feel like yours. That is the commissioning. 3 motions in 3 days, 1 Moed. That is what April 20th, 21st, and 22nd actually are. And if I am being honest with you, which I am committed to being, there is nothing else I could be more specific about right now without crossing a line I am not willing to cross. I do not know the exact shape your assembly will take. I do not know the exact sentence of your revelation. I do not know the exact assignment that will be placed in your hands on the third morning. Those are between you and the Father. But I know the shape of what is coming, and I know that if you posture correctly across those 3 days, the shape will find you. Now take a breath, because what I am about to do next is something I do not do casually. I am going to speak a word over you that I believe comes from the Father himself, not my words, his words, framed by what I hear the Spirit saying as I sit with you through this message. I will not claim more than that. I hear the Spirit saying a word, and I am going to place it in your hands, and you will test it against your own knowing. And if it lands, you will receive it, and if it does not, you will let it pass. This is the first of a few moments like this in this message. I want you to pay close attention. And I hear the Father saying, "My child, I did not name these 3 days to frighten you. I named them to prepare you. The weight you have been carrying is not a punishment. It was never meant to stay on your shoulders. I was asking you to walk through the season so that your hands would be empty enough to receive what I have been shaping for you on the other side. What crosses the window is what I am naming over your life. What does not cross the window was never mine for you to carry, and what you have been afraid to set down, set it down. I did not ask you to carry it into the Moed. I asked you to carry it to the Moed, and then release it at the threshold, so that the 3 days could do what the 3 days were designed to do. You were never meant to arrive exhausted. You were meant to arrive emptied. There is a difference. Let that settle. I know that was a lot. Take a moment with it. You can come back to me in a second. But that word, I believe that word, was for someone listening right now, and I would rather speak it with trembling than not speak it at all. If your spirit leaned forward when I said, "What crosses the window is what the Father is naming." If something in you said, "Yes," without needing to be convinced, then that word was for you. Now, let me bring the teaching back down to where your feet are. I want to give you a small assignment before we go any further, because the next part of this message will require something of you. The next part is going to begin to tell you what the cost of ignoring these 3 days actually means. The cost the title hinted at. And before we go into that, I want your spirit to be in reception mode rather than defense mode. So here is what I want you to do. Type the words "I receive." Just those 2 words. I receive. You are not buying anything. You are not committing to anything external. You are simply telling your own spirit that you are done defending against what the Father is trying to hand to you, and you are ready to accept it. The act of typing the words is the act of opening the hand. Type "I receive" in the comments. Then come back to me. Thank you. Now stay with me, because I want to show you something next that will tie a thread through everything I have said so far and prepare you for what is coming. You have been experiencing signs. You have been waking at strange hours. You have been moving through emotional waves. You have been seeing the numbers. And your mind has been quietly racing at the edges of your quiet hours. All of that, as I told you earlier, is signal. Your spirit rehearsing. Your spirit preparing. But there is a question you have probably not asked yet about any of it, and the question is this: why the brain? Why has the preparation been routed through your nervous system? Why have the signs been physical as well as spiritual? Why does it matter that you have been waking at 4:22 instead of just knowing something was coming in your thoughts during the day? There is a reason, and the reason touches something I will unpack more fully later in this message, because it is tied to a very specific piece of research I came across 2 years ago. Research that has changed how I understand prophetic preparation entirely. For now, I will only say this. The brain is not separate from the spirit. It is not a container the spirit lives inside. It is more like a tuning instrument, a specific kind of instrument. An instrument that, when it is set to the right frequency, allows the spirit to hear what the Father has been saying all along. And when it is set to the wrong frequency, the words of the Father are still being spoken, but they are passing through you without being received. Most chosen ones have been operating at a frequency that was dampened by the noise of the modern world, not through any fault of their own, just by being alive in this season of history. And part of what happens inside a Moed is a retuning, a recalibration. The frequency of the brain being brought back into alignment with the frequency of what the spirit is releasing. There is a specific name for this frequency. There is a specific scientific structure behind it. There is a man named Dr. Robert Lake who has spent 34 years mapping it. And there is a tool that has come out of his work that I will tell you about later in this message, because it is relevant to what happens after these 3 days, not before. I am not going to pitch anything to you now. I am only telling you the name of the territory so that when we come back to it, the ground is prepared. The frequency has a name. The name will land later. For now, hold the concept. Your brain has a tuning. The Moed is a retuning. That is why the signs have been physical. Good. That is enough of that for now. We will return to it. What I want to do next is something careful, because it will shape how you walk through the rest of this message. Before this message ends 4 parts from now, near the very close, I am going to pronounce something over your life. A specific sealing, a specific declaration. I do not do that lightly. I do not do it for every message. I am telling you now because I want you to stay for it, and I want you to know why staying matters. The sealing at the end is not the information of this message. The sealing is the transfer of what the information was designed to carry. Most teachings stop at information. They leave you with things you know. The sealing at the end of this message is designed to leave you with something you are, not just something you know. That is a very different kind of ending, and the reason I am telling you about it now, before we have even gotten through the middle, is because the next 2 parts of this message are going to get heavy. I am going to tell you what the cost of ignoring these 3 days actually means. I am going to walk you through the specific preparation. I am going to open the story of a woman who walked through her own version of 3 days a long time ago. Some of what comes next will land softly. Some of it will land with weight. And I do not want you to reach the heavy parts and decide you are finished. The heavy parts are the path to the ceiling. The ceiling is where the heavy parts get transformed. So commit now, even if it gets dense in the next 20 or 30 minutes. Even if you need to pause and come back. Even if the words start to sink deeper than you expected. Stay until the ceiling. That is where this message is going. And I want you to arrive there with me. Do you agree to stay? Say yes in your heart. Good. One small thing before we continue. If what I have given you so far has been useful, if Moed has opened something, if the first word from the Father landed, if you are beginning to see the shape of what these 3 days actually are, I want you to do one gentle thing. Press the like button. Not for me. Not for anything that benefits me in any way. Press like so that this message can find another soul who is also being prepared for this window and has not yet been told. There is a chosen one somewhere tonight whose restlessness has been building in the same shape as yours, and a quiet like from you can be the thing that carries these words into their hands. Let your like be a simple act of agreement with what the Father is doing, across the listening. It takes no effort, and it matters. Thank you. Now, let me build toward what is coming next. I have given you 2 layers so far. The small layer in the last part of this message, that these 3 days are the completion of a season, not the beginning of a new one. And the middle layer, just now, that these 3 days function as a mode, structured in assembly, revelation, and commissioning, personally scheduled on the Father's calendar for your life. Those are the first 2 revelations. There is a third, and the third is heavier than the first 2. The third is the one that answers the question and the title hinted at. What does it actually mean when the title says, "Ignoring this could cost you all"? What is the cost? What is lost if the window passes and you did not posture? What is lost if you reach April 23rd without having walked through the 3 days on purpose? That question is serious. I am going to answer it seriously. I am not going to scare you. I am not going to manipulate you. I am going to give you the plain word. And I am going to give you the plain word in the next part of this message, because the ground is now prepared for it. Before we go there, remember what I already told you. The Father is not threatening you. He is informing you. The cost of ignoring a Moed is not punishment. It is structural. It is the shape of what happens when a meeting is scheduled and one of the 2 people does not show up. The meeting was real. The scheduling was real. The preparation on the other side was real. And when the meeting is missed, what was prepared does not disappear. It simply does not get delivered. That is the cost. And in the next part of this message, I am going to make that cost specific. I am going to give you names for what could be handed over across those 3 days and what goes unhanded over if you sleep through them. I am going to walk you into the story of a woman who faced her own Moed and almost missed it, and you are going to see yourself in her. And then I am going to hand you the preparation practice itself. 3 components. Specific, doable. Nothing that requires you to buy anything or leave your house or change your schedule dramatically. 3 small things that, done across the 72 hours leading into April 20th, will change the way the window finds you. That is what is coming next. Stay with me. What is coming next is the part that turns all of this from information into instruction. Let me tell you what the cost actually is. I have been careful with this word. I have saved it for now because I did not want you to hear it before you had the Moed frame in place, and I did not want you to hear it while your spirit was still in a defensive posture. Now you are ready. The cost of ignoring April 20th, 21st, and 22nd is not the cost you have been imagining. It is not God turning his face. It is not the Father pulling back his hand. It is not punishment. I told you earlier, and I will tell you again, the Father is not in the business of punishing a child who misses a meeting. That is not the cost. The cost is structural, and because it is structural, it is sharper than punishment. Because it is structural, it is harder to undo. Let me explain what I mean. A Moed is not a blessing dropping from the sky onto whoever happens to be standing in the right place. A Moed is a structured delivery. It is a specific transfer of specific things from the Father's side of the table to your side of the table. When the meeting is kept, when both parties show up, the transfer happens. And when the transfer happens, what gets handed over does not just sit in your hands for the afternoon. It becomes the foundation of the next chapter of your life. Now, listen carefully. When a Moed is missed, what was on the Father's side of the table does not disappear. It was always real. It is still real. But the transfer does not happen. And without the transfer, the next chapter of your life gets built on a smaller foundation than it was supposed to be built on. That is the cost. Not nothing, something specific. A smaller foundation where a larger one was prepared. A thinner season where a fuller season was waiting. A quieter assignment where a louder one was shaped for your hands. Everything you then step into over the next year is still a life. It is still yours. It is still loved. But it is smaller than the life that was on the Father's side of the table for you, and you will feel the difference. That is what the title means when it says, ignoring this could cost you all. It does not mean you lose everything. It means you lose the larger version of what was prepared. And there is a difference between losing everything and losing the fullness of what was built for you. Both hurt. But one hurts sharper than the other, because one has a shape you can almost see and can never quite reach. I have watched this happen to chosen ones. I have watched people walk past windows they were informed about, and I have watched them build the life that came after. The life they built was not bad. They were still loved by the Father. They were still walking with Him. But there was a subtle weight that sat on them, the weight of knowing, somewhere below the surface, that something larger had been available, and they had missed the handoff. I do not want that to be you. I do not believe the Father wants that to be you. That is why the message reached you with enough time for posture. Now let me name what could be handed to you across these 3 days specifically, so that you know what you are being asked to posture for. On your side of the table, across the assembly day, the revelation day, and the commissioning day, the Father has placed the following kinds of things. He has placed clarity that you have been asking for in private, the kind of clarity that answers 3 or 4 questions at once with a single sentence you were not expecting. The kind of clarity that closes a chapter you have been trying to close with your own mind for months and could not close because the closing belonged to Him. He has placed a reordering of your relationships. Some relationships that have been costing you more than they have been giving you will shift. Not because you did something dramatic, because the energy around them shifts when you cross the window. Some relationships will get softer, some will get quieter, some will end in a way that does not feel violent. Some will deepen in a way you did not expect. The reordering is not random. It is the Father clearing the room so that the next season can come in. He has placed a direction for your calling, not the full picture, never the full picture, but the next right step, the specific movement, the thing to do next. For some of you that has been delayed for years. You have been asking for the next right step and getting silence. The silence was not refusal, it was scheduling. The direction was scheduled for the window, and the window is now 3 days away. He has placed a financial realignment. I say this carefully because I do not want you to mistake it for a prosperity promise. I am not promising you a specific sum. I am telling you that the way money moves in your life is part of what the Moed realigns. Doors you have been knocking on will either open or be closed, so you can stop knocking. Something will become clear about where provision is actually supposed to come from in the next season, and where you have been trying to force it from places that were never the right door. He has placed a release of identity weight. Things you have been carrying about who you are, old labels, old verdicts, old narratives, people spoke over you that you absorbed. These can fall off across those 3 days, not because you work on them, because the Father, inside the commissioning, renames you, and the renaming displaces the old names. All of that is on the table. If you walk through the 3 days unpostured, what you receive is a smaller version of all of it, not none of it, a smaller version. The clarity comes, but thinner. The relationship reordering happens, but quieter. The direction comes, but later. The financial realignment is delayed. The identity weight stays on longer. everything shifts into a smaller, slower version. And slower means months, sometimes years, before the equivalent weight of what was available in the window reaches your hands. That is the cost: time, size, fullness. And I am telling you all of this now, before the window opens, so that when it opens, you do not miss it. You have been informed. You have been given enough time. The choice is yours. The Father is not forcing anything. He is extending his hand. And your job is to walk through the next 3 days in a way that keeps your hand open enough to take what he is extending. Now, let me show you someone who did this well. Because I do not just want to teach you theory. I want to give you a picture. There was a woman a long time ago. I mentioned her briefly in the previous part of this message. She did not choose her own Moed. It was placed on her life with very little warning. She was a young woman. She had not asked for public purpose. She had not asked to be positioned. She had spent her life up to that point being hidden, raised by an uncle, overlooked, ordinary in the eyes of the world around her. She had learned to move quietly. She had learned to stay small. Staying small had been safer than standing out. And there are chosen ones listening to this message right now who understand exactly what that kind of smallness feels like, because you have lived your own version of it. Her name was Esther. When the Moed came for Esther, it came in the shape of a nation in danger, not her family, a whole people group, a whole lineage. And she found herself positioned, seemingly by accident, though nothing about it was an accident, in the one place where the decision could be changed, in the palace, close enough to the king to be heard, close enough to the danger to be destroyed. And she was afraid. I want you to sit with how afraid she was, because the texts do not hide it. She hesitated. She told her uncle she could not do it. The rules of the palace were harsh. You did not approach the king without being called. To approach uncalled was to risk death, and she had not been called. She was being asked to walk into a room that the system told her she should not walk into, at a moment when the future of her people depended on whether she walked in. Her uncle, a man named Mordecai, spoke a sentence to her that the sacred texts have preserved for thousands of years because the sentence was too weighted to lose. He said, "Perhaps you were brought to the palace for such a time as this." I want you to hear that sentence as if it is new, because it has been repeated so many times in Christian settings that it has almost lost its weight. But strip off the familiarity and hear what it actually says. Perhaps the hidden years of your life, the years that felt like they were going nowhere, were not going nowhere. Perhaps they were positioning. Perhaps the small room you have been living in was the staging ground for the large room you are about to be called into. Perhaps everything you have walked through that did not make sense to you was making perfect sense to the Father, who was placing you exactly where you would need to be when the Moed arrived, for such a time as this. Esther received the sentence, and her response was what I want you to see most clearly, because her response is the template for your response in the next 3 days. She did not run into the king's throne room that afternoon. She did not try to force the moment. She did not manufacture drama. She did not try to make her own timing dramatic and large. She fasted for 3 days. 3 days of silence, 3 days of quieting her body, 3 days of preparation, 3 days of refusing to rush into a moment that needed her to be fully emptied before she walked into it. I need you to hold what just happened there, because it is almost too precise to be a coincidence. Esther's Moed was 3 days long. Not 1, not 7, 3. And those 3 days were not days of action, they were days of quieting, days of removing noise, days of preparing her spirit to walk into a room where one sentence, rightly spoken, would change the shape of a nation. The pattern across the sacred texts repeats itself. 3 days of preparation before a large Moed. 3 days of quieting before a large commissioning. Not 10, not a month. 3. And what you walk into on the other side of those 3 days is larger than what you would have walked into if you had skipped the 3 days and just hoped for the best. Does that sound familiar? It should, because April 20th, 21st, and 22nd are placed over your life in the same shape that Esther's 3 days were placed over her life. And what you do inside those 3 days will have the same effect on the year ahead of you that Esther's 3 days had on the year ahead of her. Now, let me tell you something about Esther that most people skip. When the 3 days ended, she did not run into the throne room. She walked in. She walked in composed. She walked in clear. She walked in carrying the authority of a woman who had been emptied enough to be filled correctly. And when she stood in front of the king, she did not ramble. She did not over-explain. She did not grovel. She spoke one careful sentence. And the king heard it. The 3 days had done their work. She did not earn her Moed. She kept it. There is a difference. And what I want to walk you into next is how you keep yours. Now, I am going to name something that many chosen ones struggle with, because I do not want it to trip you up as we move into the practice itself. The thing that most chosen ones do wrong at the edge of a Moed, and this is true even of chosen ones who know the Moed is coming, is that they try to make it happen. They try to force something dramatic. They try to orchestrate an outcome. They pray harder in a way that is not actually prayer, but is anxiety in the shape of prayer. They schedule external things they think will set the stage. They tell other people about it in ways that drain the energy out of it before the meeting arrives. I want to be honest with you. You may be tempted to do this. It is the most natural temptation in the world when you know something large is coming. You see the edge of the thing. You know it is close. And your mind wants to reach out and pull it toward you. Do not do that. The Moed does not belong to your mind. It belongs to the Father. Your job is not to manufacture the outcome. Your job is to posture to receive the outcome. And those are two very different things. Let me be even more direct. If you spend the 3 days trying to make something specific happen, writing long lists, orchestrating encounters, pushing for a specific outcome, you have already pre-decided in your head you will actually block what the Father is trying to deliver. Not because the Father is petty, because the posture of forcing closes your hand. A closed hand cannot receive. A forced posture cannot hold what is being handed over. This is the most common failure at a Moed, not disbelief, forcing. Chosen ones are especially prone to it, and I want to tell you why, because I do not want you to shame yourself when you notice the urge to force rising in you. You are not broken. You are just built a certain way. Chosen ones are sensitive. You see further than most people. You sense what is coming before others do. And because you can see it, you think you are responsible for pulling it closer. That is the trap. You think perception means responsibility. It does not. Perception means preparation. The perception was given so you could posture. The pulling is not yours to do. Let me say it more plainly. You are not allowed to engineer your Moed. The Moed was engineered before you were born. Let that land. And if you felt a little release when I said that, it is because something in you has been quietly exhausted from trying to pull your own life into shape. A lot of chosen ones have been carrying a weight. They were never asked to carry the weight of manufacturing outcomes. They were only supposed to position for. That weight can come off now. Here is what the Father is inviting you to do instead. You are allowed to prepare without performing. You are allowed to posture without pushing. You are allowed to be ready without being loud. You are allowed to show up without staging the show. You are allowed to trust that a Moed the Father set does not require your engineering. You are allowed to stop trying to earn what was already appointed. You are allowed to sit quietly in the knowing and let the knowing be enough and not require it to become a thing you are doing. You are allowed to release the version of you that thought it had to perform in order to receive. Breathe. If that was a lot, breathe. I want you to feel the permission of that, because everything else I am about to give you will only work if you hold the permission first. You cannot posture correctly from a place of pressure. Posture only works from rest. And rest is not passivity. Rest is trust in structure. You are allowed to trust the structure the Father built. Now, let me hand you the actual practice, the 3-part preparation, the thing you can start tomorrow morning before April 20th and carry through the 3 days themselves. I want to name it clearly so your mind has a handle for it. I am going to call it the 72-hour silent alignment. Not because it requires 72 straight hours of silence. It does not. I would never ask that of you. It is called that because the practice covers the 72 hours leading into and through the 3 days of the window. And the word silent describes not your whole life, but the specific posture of the practice. You will still live your life. You will still work. You will still care for your family. You will just walk through the 72 hours holding 3 very specific pieces of practice that the rest of the world will not see. There are 3 components. Let me walk you through each one. The first component is this. Each of the 3 mornings, April 20th, 21st, and 22nd, you will set aside 22 minutes of silence. Not 30, not 60, 22. I picked the number carefully. It is short enough that anyone listening to this message can actually do it, no matter what your life looks like. And it is long enough to settle. Most people cannot settle in 5 minutes. They can settle in 22. The time I want you to do it at is 4:22 in the morning. I know that sounds early for some of you. I know it sounds impossible for others. Let me explain why that specific time matters. Many of you have already been waking up around that hour. I named it in the previous part of this message. Your body has been pulling you awake at 4:22 or 2:02 or some variation of those numbers. That waking has been preparation. The Father has been waking you into the hour because the hour has the quality of quiet that the Moed requires. If you are already waking at that time, use it. Do not fight it. Do not try to go back to sleep. Sit up somewhere you can be still and give the 22 minutes to the Father in silence. If you are not waking at that time naturally, if your body does not do that, set an alarm just for those 3 mornings. Wake up at 4:22, sit up, give the 22 minutes. You can go back to sleep afterward if you need to. What you do during the 22 minutes is almost nothing. You do not pray out loud, you do not read, you do not put on music, you do not try to make something happen in the silence. You simply sit. You breathe. You let your mind slow down, and if thoughts rise, you let them rise and pass. You are not performing, you are just making yourself available. I know that sounds simple. It is simple. Simple is not the same as easy. 22 minutes of unperformed silence will be harder than any spiritual practice you have tried recently. Your mind will try to fill it. Your body will try to get up. Something in you will want to pick up your phone. Something in you will want to pray, because praying feels productive, and silence does not feel productive. Do not pray. Not during those 22 minutes. This is the one exception. Praying during the 22 minutes will actually work against what the posture is designed to do. Praying is a form of speaking. The posture you need for a Moed is listening. Your prayers are already being heard. The Father does not need more words from you in those 22 minutes. He needs your quiet presence. That is the practice. The second component is this. For the first 90 minutes after waking, on each of the 3 days, do not consume input. That means no news, no social feeds, no podcasts, no music with words, no television, no messages from friends, no email, no articles. I am not saying that forever. I am saying it for 90 minutes on 3 specific mornings. Why 90 minutes? Because the spirit is most receptive in the first 90 minutes after waking, before the noise of the world reshapes its frequency. What you fill those 90 minutes with will imprint onto the rest of your day. If you fill them with noise, you will carry the noise into the window. If you leave them quiet, you will carry quiet into the window. And quiet is the carrier of the Moed. 90 minutes, no input. You can drink water, you can make breakfast, you can stretch, you can sit, you can look out the window. You can be with your kids if you have kids, but keep it simple. You can do simple tasks with your hands if you need to do them. You just cannot consume. At the end of 90 minutes, you return to your normal day. You check your phone, you do your work, you engage. But the first 90 minutes are protected. And the protection of them is what keeps the frequency clear. The third component is this. Each of the 3 days, you will defer one decision. Only one, small or large, a decision you were planning to make that day. A decision about what to say to someone. A decision about whether to buy something. A decision about how to respond to a message. A decision about a move you were planning to make in your work or your life. Take whatever that decision is and defer it by 24 hours. That is it. You are not canceling the decision. You are not refusing the decision. You are not running from it. You are simply creating a 24-hour space between the urge to decide and the act of deciding. And in that space, your spirit gets a chance to speak to the decision before your mind does. Why does this one matter? Because the Moed is designed to shift your discernment. And if you make decisions during the Moed at the old speed, with the old posture, with the old momentum, you will miss the fact that your discernment has been upgraded. Deferring even one decision per day creates the gap where you will notice, oh, I see this differently now. I see this from a different angle than I did yesterday. I am not the same person who was about to make this decision. And now the decision gets made from the new version, not the old one. One decision per day, deferred 24 hours, across 3 days. That is all. Those are the 3 components. 22 minutes of silence at 4:22 each morning. No input for the first 90 minutes of each day. One decision per day, deferred by 24 hours. Simple, specific, repeatable. Nothing that requires anything you do not already have. Nothing that asks you to leave your bed if you do not want to. You can do every part of this from wherever you are already standing in your life. Now let me give you one more practice. A smaller one. This one is for the 7 days after the window closes. Because what happens across April 20th, 21st, and 22nd will continue unfolding for a week after. I am going to call it the Witness Journal. Across those 7 days, April 23rd through April 29th, each day write one sentence, just one, about one observable shift you noticed that day, not your feelings, not your interpretations, not your hopes, an observable shift, a conversation that went differently than it would have gone, a decision that came easier than it used to come, a phone call you did not expect, a door that closed, a door that opened, something a stranger said to you, something that arrived in your day, that was not there before. One sentence, one shift, per day, 7 days. Do not try to explain what each shift means. Do not try to connect them. Do not try to extract a meaning. Just witness. The reason is this: the Father delivers the commissioning of a Moed in fragments across the week that follows. If you try to interpret the fragments as they arrive, you will force them into patterns that are not yet complete. But if you witness them, one sentence at a time, without interpretation, at the end of the 7 days, you will be able to read the journal back and see the shape you could not see while it was unfolding. That is where the commissioning becomes visible, not inside the window, in the week after. And the witness journal is how you catch it. Take a slow breath. I just gave you a lot, I know. But I also know that nothing I just gave you is impossible to do. All of it is within reach of the life you are already living. You do not need to rearrange anything. You do not need to buy anything. You do not need to tell anyone what you are doing. You can walk through all of it privately, and it will work privately, and the results will be yours to hold. If you are ready to commit to the 3 days, the silence, the no-input window, the deferred decision, I want you to do one small thing right now. Type the words "I release" in the comments. Just those 2 words. I release. Release the urge to force the outcome. Release the need to manufacture the Moed. Release the version of you that thought you had to engineer what was already appointed. Type "I release," then come back. Thank you. Now take another breath, because the next part of this message is going to do something I have not done yet. Everything I have given you so far has been layered. The small truth, the middle truth, the first word from the Father, the Esther story, the practice itself. Each one has added something to your understanding. But what comes next is not another layer. It is the synthesis. It is the single truth that all 3 of the revelations have been pointing toward the whole time. And when I speak it, some of you are going to feel the floor shift under you, because you are going to realize that the first 2 parts of this message were not 3 separate things. They were one thing, wearing 3 faces. Take a breath before we go there. I want you to arrive awake. Stay with me. The synthesis is coming. Here is the synthesis. I want you to hold on lightly, because what I am about to say will reorganize everything I have said so far into a single picture. And the picture is bigger than any of the individual pieces have been. April 20th, 21st, and 22nd are not 3 separate days. They are one event. One event unfolding in 3 motions. One mode, wearing 3 faces. One arrival, arranging itself across 3 sunrises, so that the weight of what is being delivered does not overwhelm the person receiving it. If the Father had tried to hand over everything he has prepared for you in a single morning, you would not have been able to carry it. You would have shattered under the weight. That is why it is 3 days. Not because the Father needed 3 days, because you did. The 3 days are a gift shaped around the size of your hands. Let me show you what I mean by one event. The assembly of April 20th is not finished on April 20th. What gets assembled on the first day holds open the space for what gets revealed on the second day. And what gets revealed on the second day is not complete by itself. The revelation of the second day requires the assembly of the first day to hold it. The 2 are not separable. You cannot receive April 21st's revelation without April 20th's assembly, because the revelation is being placed into the shape the assembly built. And then, April 22nd, the commissioning is not a separate event either. The commissioning is not something new handed to you on the 3rd day. The commissioning is the fusion of the assembly and the revelation into ascending. The first day gathered you. The second day named you. The third day sends you. And all three belong to the same motion. One breath, three rhythms, one mode. This is the shape. Now, let me tie the three revelations I have walked you through into what they were all secretly pointing toward. In the first part of this message, I told you these 3 days were a completion, not a beginning. That was Revelation 1, the small layer. And you received it. It made sense to you. The past season has been building toward something, and these 3 days are the delivery of what the building produced. Then I told you what the delivery actually is. That was Revelation 2, the middle layer, the Moed frame. A structured two-sided meeting arranged before time began, with your name on it. You received that too, and the Esther story landed into it. Then just now, I told you what ignoring it would cost. That was Revelation 3, the large layer, a smaller foundation, a thinner next chapter. Things that were prepared but not transferred, sitting on the Father's side of the table, untouched. 3 revelations, 3 layers, each one opening the one after it. But all 3 of them, the whole time, have been pointing at this. These 3 days are the structural pivot of the year of your life that follows. That is the synthesis. Hear it again. These 3 days are the structural pivot of the year of your life that follows. Not an event inside a year, a pivot on which a year will turn. Not something that happens during the year, something that reshapes what the year will be. Everything that unfolds between now and a year from now, every relationship, every decision, every direction, every provision, every inner transformation will be shaped by what crosses these 3 days with you and what gets left on the Father's side of the table. Let that settle for a second. That is why the cost matters, not because of the dates themselves, because of the year the dates are pivoting. The pivot is small. The arc attached to the pivot is large. This is how the Father works across seasons of history. He uses short windows to pivot long chapters. 3 days of preparation before the Red Sea crossing. 3 days in the belly of a fish before Jonah was released to his calling. 3 days of fasting before Esther stood in the palace. 3 days in the tomb before the resurrection. 3 days, 3 days, 3 days, again and again through the sacred texts. The Father does not use 3 days for small things. He uses 3 days to pivot large things. That is the weight of what is sitting over your life. I know what some of you are thinking right now. You are thinking, if all of that is true, how could the Father have placed such a large pivot on my life? I am not Esther. I am not Moses. I am just me. Just an ordinary person in an ordinary house, carrying ordinary burdens. Surely the Father is not arranging a structural pivot over me. Surely he saves those for the people in the headlines. Surely my 3 days are smaller than that. I want to answer that carefully, because it is one of the most persistent lies chosen ones carry. The lie is that large structural pivots are reserved for public figures, that only the people whose names get remembered in history books get Moed days of this weight. That the Father distributes his most important meetings to a small number of chosen people in every generation, and the rest of the people, even the loved ones, get smaller things. That is not how the Father works. The Father works individually. He structures individual lives with the same care. He structured the life of Esther. The only reason you know about Esther is because her Moed happened to be tied to a nation that got its history written down. But there have been tens of thousands of Esthers across history whose Moed days were tied to their family, their community, their small circle, their private calling. They had the same weight. They had the same 3 days. They had the same structural pivot. History just did not record it, because history only records what happens in palaces. Your Moed is private. That does not make it small. It makes it yours. And I want you to know, because this is something the Father wanted me to say to you specifically, that the privacy of your Moed is a protection. The Father did not announce these 3 days to the internet at large. He did not put them on a billboard. He did not send a prophet to a stadium with a microphone. He spoke them quietly into the spirits of a small number of people who could carry them. I am one of them. That is why this message exists, and the fact that the message found you is the sign that your Moed was arranged to be known by you, received by you, and walked through by you in private. The sacred kind of private. The private kind that does not need an audience to matter. Take a breath with that. Now, I want to do something that I have been preparing for across this entire message. I want to speak another word over you that I believe comes from the Father, not manufactured, not rehearsed, given. I have been holding this moment because it needed everything you just received to be in place before I could deliver it. Without the foundation of the first 2 parts of this message, the word would not have landed correctly. Now, the ground is ready. Let your hands open, even just a little. In your heart, in your body, if you are sitting somewhere, you can open them. A small gesture of reception. And I hear the Father saying, "My child, I did not bring you this far to leave you here. I named the dates so that you would not sleep through what I am naming over you. The seasons you have walked through were not wasted. The silences were not punishment. The waits were not refusal. Every one of them was tuning. Every one of them was shaping the vessel so that when I poured, the pouring would not break what I was pouring into. I am pouring on April 20th. I am pouring on April 21st. I am pouring on April 22nd. And what I am pouring is not what you thought you were waiting for. It is larger than that. You were waiting for a blessing. I am giving you a structure. You were waiting for a door to open. I am giving you a map to walk through it. You were waiting for me to move. I have been moving. You are now finally in position to see that I was moving the whole time. Walk across the window the way I named you to walk. Prepared, quiet, unafraid, not performing, not pushing, only present. I will not fail what I started in you. And when the window closes on the evening of the 22nd, you will know me more than you did when the window opened on the morning of the 20th. That is the transfer. That is the Moed. That is what I have been building you toward for years. Breathe. I am going to stay quiet for a moment. Take the word in. Do not rush it. If your eyes got warm, let them get warm. If something inside of you softened, let it soften. This is the part where the message stops being information and starts being transfer. Let me tell you about someone. Now that the word is settled, I want to be clear about what I am about to say. This is a story I am using to show you a pattern. The details are specific enough to help you see yourself, but I am telling it as a parable for you. A man I will call J. You do not need his last name. You do not need his exact town. What you need is the shape of his 3 days. 9 months ago, J was 6 months into a season that he had not asked for. He had been let go from his role at the end of the previous year. Not because of anything he had done wrong. A restructure. The kind of quiet letting go that happens in a quarterly report and rearranges a life. And when he walked out of that building for the last time, his wife was already stretched. Their savings had been depleting for a while. 2 kids, a mortgage, a future he had been building in a direction that was no longer open to him. For 6 months, he did everything he was supposed to do. He applied, he networked, he took the calls, he did the interviews, and nothing moved. Not in a dramatic way, just in a quiet, closed way. Every door was polite, and every door was closed. The family started having harder conversations, not arguments, quieter than that. The kind of conversations that sit in the kitchen after the kids are asleep, where two people are trying to figure out how long they can last. And one night, a night he described to me, afterward, he was sitting in his kitchen at maybe 3 in the morning, unable to sleep, and something happened that he had not expected. He felt a prompting about 3 days. Not the dates I am giving you, his own dates, specific to his own calling. And the prompting said, simply, prepare for these 3 days, that is all. No guarantee of outcome, no promise of what would happen. Just prepare for these 3 days. He did not know what to do with it. He was a practical man. He was not someone who had a lot of prophetic language. He was just a man who had raised his family, worked hard, and was now in a hard place. But something in the prompting was serious enough that he did not dismiss it, and he did something that most people would not have done. He trusted the specificity before he understood the strategy. That is the line I want you to remember. He trusted the specificity before he understood the strategy. For 72 hours leading into those 3 days, he did 3 things. He did not know it was a practice. He just did what his spirit pulled him toward. He turned off everything electronic when he went to bed and left it off until mid-morning the next day. He took a short walk alone in the very early hours of each morning before anyone else in the house was awake, and he stopped talking about his job search. He did not tell anyone what he was doing. He just did it for 3 days. On the first of the 3 days, he did not notice anything obvious. On the second, he noticed that his mind was quieter than it had been in half a year. On the third, he noticed he was not afraid anymore. Not because the situation had changed. The savings were still almost gone. The interviews were still silent. But the fear had come off. Those were the only things that happened during the 3 days. Nothing external, no job offer, no phone ringing, no dramatic sign. But here is what happened in the week that followed. On the 6th day after the window closed, his phone rang. A number he did not recognize, a firm he had not applied to, a contact he did not remember having. Someone who had heard his name through a chain of conversations that he could not have orchestrated if he had tried. A role that did not exist in the listings. A role shaped to what he actually carried, not what his previous title had described. On the 31st day, he was hired. For more than what he had been making before the letting go, for something that used more of him than the previous role had used. And when he told me about it afterward, what he said was this. He did not say, "I am grateful for the job." He said, "I am grateful for the 3 days." Because without the 3 days, the call on the 6th day would have landed on a version of me that was too desperate to receive it correctly. The 3 days made me ready. I want you to sit with his line again. The 3 days made me ready. That is what your 3 days are for. Not to make something happen, to make you ready for what is already being arranged on the other side of them. The arrangement is happening whether you posture or not. The question is, what version of you shows up to receive it? The posture determines the version. The version determines the capacity. The capacity determines what actually gets transferred. That is the entire purpose of the 72-hour silent alignment. That is why the 22 minutes matter. That is why the no input 90 minutes matter. That is why the deferred decision matters. Each one is shaping a version of you that can receive what is being handed over without fumbling it. Let me say that in a different way so it lands from another angle. You are not meant to survive April 20th. You are meant to cross it. You are not meant to decode April 21st. You are meant to receive it. You are not meant to perform through April 22nd. You are meant to be renamed by it. Survive and cross are not the same word. Survival endures a day. Crossing is changed by a day. You do not want to endure the Moed. You want to be changed by it. Decode and receive are not the same word. Decoding tries to figure out what the Father is saying from outside the saying. Receiving opens the hand and lets the saying land on the inside. You do not want to spend April 21st trying to decode. You want to spend it receiving. Perform and be renamed are not the same word. Performance tries to earn the outcome. Being renamed is the outcome. You cannot perform your way into a new name. You can only stand in the Moed long enough to be renamed by it. These three contrasts, survive versus cross, decode versus receive, perform versus be renamed, are the three postures that will determine what the window hands to you. And here is the hardest thing to hear, because it is the most true. Most of your life, you have been living in the first word of each pair. You have been surviving. You have been decoding. You have been performing. That is not a criticism. It is simply the truth of what most chosen ones have had to do to stay standing through the years that came before now. Survival, decoding, and performance have kept you alive. I am not ashamed of you for having used them. But those three postures will not carry you across the Moed. They will block the transfer. The 3 days require a different posture: crossing, receiving, being renamed. And that posture is learned in the 22 minutes of silence. It is learned in the 90 minutes of no input. It is learned in the deferred decision. Each practice is a rehearsal of the posture the window itself will require. By the time the window opens, you will have spent 72 hours learning how to stand in it correctly. That is why the practice matters. Not because the practice does something, because the practice teaches you how to be still enough to let the window do what it is designed to do. Breathe. I have given you a lot tonight. I have given you the completion truth, the Moed frame, the cost of missing, the Esther parable, the practice, and now the synthesis and the second word from the Father and Jay's story. I want you to feel me slow down for a second, because the next part of this message is going to shift in tone. I am going to come back down with you out of the synthesis and sit in something practical that ties everything together. Because I have one more piece of this I want to place in your hands before we walk into the final ceiling. Not another revelation layer, something more grounded. Something that explains why the brain has been a part of this, why the signs have been physical as well as spiritual, why there is a reason your nervous system itself has been involved in the preparation. Remember earlier in this message I mentioned a man named Dr. Robert Lake. I told you to hold his name and that I would come back to it. The time to come back to it is almost here. In the next part of this message, I am going to tell you what he discovered, why it matters for what you are about to walk into, and why I have been carrying something he created for the past 2 years that I believe was placed in my hands for a moment like this one. I am not going to rush into that. The ground needs one more breath before we step onto it. Because what he discovered is not a small thing. It ties the scientific structure of your brain to the spiritual structure of your calling in a way that most chosen ones have never had explained to them. And I want to explain it cleanly. But before I do, let me consolidate what we have covered, in plain words, because the next section is going to be dense, and I do not want you to step into it unclear. Here is what we have covered, in simple language. You have been carrying a fear of missing divine timing. The fear was not imagined. The timing is real. These 3 days, April 20th, 21st, and 22nd, are a personal Moed, a meeting the Father arranged over your life before you had a name. The 3 days are the structural pivot of the year that follows. What crosses the window will shape what you walk into. The practical preparation is the 72-hour silent alignment. 22 minutes of silence at 4:22 each morning. No input for the first 90 minutes. One decision deferred per day. And, across the week that follows, a witness journal. One sentence per day. Observable shifts only. The warning is that forcing the Moed blocks the transfer. The invitation is to cross, not survive. To receive, not decode. To be renamed, not perform. That is where we are. Now there is one more thing I need to show you before we close. It has to do with the mechanism behind why the 22 minutes of silence actually works. Behind why the 4:22 hour is not arbitrary. Behind why your brain has been part of the preparation, and behind a discovery that has been quietly changing how a small group of chosen ones align themselves before divine windows like this one. This is where Dr. Lake comes back in. And this is where I am going to give you something I have been holding the whole time, which I do not hand out lightly, and which the Father specifically placed in my hands for those of you who have stayed this long in the message. Stay with me. Stay with me. Everything I have given you so far is true, without anything I am about to add. You have the Moed frame. You have the practice. You have the Esther parable. You have the synthesis. If this message ended right now, you would still walk into April 20th prepared. I want you to hear that before I say anything else, because I do not want you to feel that what comes next is a requirement. It is not. What comes next is a gift I have been carrying for 2 years that I believe was placed in my hands for a moment exactly like this one. And I am going to hand it to you carefully, without any pressure, and let your spirit decide what to do with it. Let me begin. Earlier in this message, I said something that I want to come back to. I said that the brain is not separate from the spirit. It is more like a tuning instrument. And I said that there is a specific frequency of the brain that the Father built into you before you were born. The frequency that carries what most chosen ones have always felt was their true mind. The mind that saw clearly when you were a child. The mind that learned without trying. The mind that had intuitions before anyone explained why. That is not imagination. That is a measurable brainwave state. Decades of research mapped at labs like MIT, Princeton, and several other leading research universities have documented a very specific brainwave frequency called gamma. Gamma is the frequency of flow, the frequency of insight, the frequency of what the ancients would have called the anointed mind. When your brain is producing gamma at healthy levels, you learn quickly, you feel connected to something larger than yourself, you receive impressions your conscious mind cannot explain, and you respond to life with a kind of sharpness that nobody taught you. Every healthy young child on the planet produces gamma abundantly. That is why childhood felt the way it felt. Then something happens. The research calls it the decline effect. Around the age of 7, a gamma begins to quietly dim. It does not collapse, it dims. And it keeps dimming through adolescence, through school, through the years of adapting to a world that does not reward gamma and often punishes it. By the time most adults are in their 30s, they are producing a fraction of the gamma they carried at age 6. The loss is real. The measurement is real. The brain is still working, just not at the frequency it was originally built to produce. Now, the reason I am telling you this is not because of the science itself. The reason is because of what gamma is for. Gamma is not a nice-to-have. Gamma is the specific frequency at which the brain is able to fully receive what the spirit is delivering. When gamma is dim, prayers feel like they are hitting a ceiling. Impressions arrive, but cannot be read. Revelations pass through without imprinting. The Father is still speaking. The brain is just not at the frequency required to translate what he is saying into something the conscious mind can hold. This is why chosen ones, and I say this carefully, are especially affected by the decline effect. You were born with gamma above average. That is what made you different as a child. The world you grew up in dampened it more harshly than it would have dampened a normal brain, because your brain had further to fall. The distance between who you were at 6 and who you have felt like at 35 or 45 has a name. It is the distance of lost gamma. And part of what you have been sensing for years, that something larger was possible inside you, but you could not reach it, has been the accurate perception of that distance. I am telling you this now, here, in this part of the message, because it is structurally relevant to what you are about to walk into. The 3 days are a Moed. But a Moed requires your receiving capacity to be calibrated. Deliveries from the Father come through the brain as well as through the spirit. If the brain is dim, the delivery will land, but it will land in pieces. If the brain is tuned, the delivery will land whole. That is why the 72-hour silent alignment I gave you actually works at the biological level, not just the spiritual level. The 22 minutes of silence at 4:22 in the morning are gamma-friendly conditions. The 90 minutes of no input preserve gamma. The deferred decision protects gamma from being spent on the wrong output. I gave you the practice for spiritual reasons first, but the practice also happens to be mechanically correct. Now here is where the gift part comes in. Dr. Robert Lake, the researcher I mentioned in the first part of this message, did not build one product. He mapped a body of work. He spent 34 years at this. And one of the things that came out of those 34 years was an answer to the question almost nobody had answered before him. The question was this: if gamma dims at age 7, and if the world keeps dimming it for decades after that, is there a way, short of 20 years of meditation or $7,000 biofeedback devices, to simply reactivate it in the brain of an adult who was born with it but lost it? The research said yes, under very specific conditions, using a technology called brain entrainment, which is the documented process by which the brain begins to match the frequency of a sound it is exposed to. Labs have confirmed this for decades. If you expose the brain to a specific audio pattern, the brain, over time, begins to produce the matching wave. That is not mysticism. That is neuroscience. It is how sleep tracks for insomnia work. It is how focus tracks for students work. It is a real, measurable mechanism. What Dr. Lake did was spend his career figuring out the exact audio signature that reactivates gamma specifically. Not beta, not theta, gamma, the anointed mind frequency. And after 34 years of refining it, he compressed the full mechanism into a single 7-minute audio track. Headphones, eyes closed, once a day, nothing else required. No meditation, no mantra, no waking at 4 in the morning unless you want to. 7 minutes. Now, before I tell you anything more about it, I want to pause and speak to something. I want to be honest with you about what I am doing right now in this message. I am telling you about a tool, a real tool, one I have been using myself for 2 years. One I believe is part of what the Father has been preparing for chosen ones in this season. And I am telling you about it because these 3 days are a calibration window, and a calibrated brain receives more than an uncalibrated brain. If the idea of me mentioning a tool in the middle of a message about a Moed makes something in you tighten, I understand. I would rather you tighten and be honest about it than pretend you did not. Let me say this to the tightness. I would never disrespect your situation. I would never ask you to spend money you do not have. What I am about to describe costs $39, and for some of you, that is a real decision in your household, and I honor that deeply. I am not going to push you toward it. I am going to lay it in front of you, tell you what it is, tell you what it does, and let your spirit decide. If your spirit is quiet, you walk past it. If your spirit leans forward, you follow the lean. That is all. The tool is called the Genius Song. Dr. Lake named it that because when gamma is restored, the brain returns to its original state, the state the ancients used to describe as the mind of the genius child. Not genius in the sense of IQ, genius in the original sense of the word, a being that carries its own light, the mind you had before the world dimmed you, the mind that learned languages in months and saw patterns before anyone explained them. Here is what the Genius Song does. In plain language, you put on headphones, you close your eyes, you press play. For 7 minutes, the audio runs. During those 7 minutes, your brain begins to match the gamma frequency the audio is carrying. You do not have to do anything. You do not have to meditate. You do not have to think specific thoughts. The brain does the matching on its own, because brain entrainment is how brains work. That is it. 7 minutes a day. And over the course of days and weeks, the baseline of your gamma production begins to rise. That is the mechanism. That is the whole thing. I have been using it for 2 years. I am going to tell you what I noticed, not because my experience guarantees yours, but because I want to be honest about what I am recommending. In the first week, I did not notice anything dramatic. I noticed my mornings were a little quieter than they had been. In the second week, I noticed that decisions were coming to me faster. Not all decisions. Small ones. What to say to someone, whether to respond to a message or let it sit. The kind of decisions that usually took me a long time started taking less time. By the third week, I noticed something harder to describe. The prayers I had been saying for months started landing differently in me, not because the prayers changed, because the receiver had changed. And over the 2 years since, I have watched that receiver continue to open, and I have watched my ability to hear the Father deepen in proportion to it. I am telling you this here because I believe, and you can test this against your own spirit, that if you add 7 minutes of this to your 72-hour silent alignment across these 3 days, you will arrive at the window with a gamma baseline closer to what it was when you were a child. And a child baseline brain receives a Moed differently than a dimmed adult brain does. That is the offer. Before I tell you the price and how to get it, I want to sit with the story of a woman I will tell you about briefly, because her experience might help you recognize yourself. She was 38 years old when she first found this. She had spent years, I mean serious years, walking through every spiritual path she could find. Meditation, yoga, silent retreats, teachers, books, all of it. She was not a lazy seeker. She was the opposite. She was the kind of person who did the work and then did it again when it did not land. And across all of those years, she had never quite reached what she was actually looking for. She described it to me later as a feeling of always being close to the door, but never quite able to open it. She bought the Genius Song for the reason most tired seekers buy things. She said, "I have tried everything, and I have nothing left to lose." She was not expecting much. She was not hoping. She was just tired enough to try. 2 weeks in, she said, the change could be summarized in a single word: synchronicities. The world started arranging itself around her in ways she could not have orchestrated. Conversations she had been trying to have for years started happening without her setting them up. Questions she had been carrying quietly started receiving answers through people she had never met. The universe, in her words, started speaking in a language she finally understood. She did not become someone new. She became the version of herself she had been trying to reach for years. And when we talked about it, what she said was this: "It was not that I found something I was missing. It was that what had always been there became audible to me." I think some of you recognize yourself in her. I am not going to pretend I know which of you. You know. Now let me answer the objections I know are already forming in you, because I would rather you hear me answer them out loud than argue with them in silence. Some of you are thinking, I have tried other things, healing sounds, binaural beats, meditation apps. They did not work. Why would this one be different? Here is the honest answer. Most of what you have tried asked your brain to change itself from the inside. Meditation, mantras, affirmations, those are all internal effort methods. They work eventually if you are disciplined enough, but they are slow and they are uncertain and they depend entirely on the person doing the work. Brain entrainment is different in category, not degree. It works from the outside. The brain matches the frequency being delivered to it, because that is how the brain is built to work with sound. You are not required to generate the change internally. You only have to allow it. That is a different mechanism. Not a better promise. A different mechanism. Some of you are thinking, it sounds too good to be true, and I want to honor that. Skepticism is wisdom after you have been disappointed. Skepticism is the first line of defense for someone who has been lied to before. I am not asking you to leave your skepticism behind. I am asking you to move from promise language into evidence language. This is not a claim I am making. This is a measurable brain state being tracked by EEG instruments in peer-reviewed labs. Over 18,000 chosen ones have used this. And of those 18,000, less than 4% have asked for their money back across the 60-day guarantee window, which means well over 96% continue using it beyond the window. That is not promise language. That is behavior. Some of you are thinking, $39 is real to me right now, and I hear you. I told you earlier, and I mean it. I respect the weight of that. Let me walk you carefully through what the cost actually looks like, not to convince you of anything, but so you can make a clean decision. If you were to seek what this does through the usual channels, the prices look like this. A meditation app subscription runs around $15 a month, and most meditation apps do not target gamma specifically. An online mindfulness course runs between $100 and $200, and again, not gamma specific. A weekend spiritual retreat runs between $400 and $800, plus travel. A single session with a licensed therapist is around $150. At the professional level, gamma-targeted biofeedback therapy at clinics runs around $300 per session over weeks of repeated visits. None of these are bad. Most of them help in their own way, but none of them hand you the mechanism itself. They hand you the practice around the mechanism. What Dr. Lake did was compress the mechanism into 7 minutes. The original price for it is $49. The price the chosen ones listening to this message receive is $39. This is not a marketing discount. It is Dr. Lake's personal decision. He has been clear with me that his priority is reaching the people this was built for, not maximizing revenue per unit. So, the price sits where it sits, not on any other platform, only through the link in the description and the pinned comment of this message. At $39, you also receive 4 things that were designed to accompany the main track. One is called Genius Child, a 6-minute audio calibrated for children's brains before the decline effect sets in, valued at $19. One is a book. The film, The Secret, was based on a century-old text on the true principles of prosperity that the modern versions left out, valued at $20. One is a 22-minute guided visualization that walks you through 4 areas of life: finances, love, health, happiness, valued at $29. And one is a single-page infographic of the 5 daily habits of people who keep their gamma activated long-term, valued at $12. $80 of bonuses, included with the $39 purchase. Which brings me to the guarantee, because I want you to understand exactly how the risk is structured. Dr. Lake offers a full 60-day money-back guarantee. If, after 60 days of using the Genius Song, you do not feel a shift, you email the team, you get a full refund, and you keep all 4 bonuses. You do not return anything. You do not jump through hoops. The bonuses stay yours as his apology for the time you invested, which means the honest worst case, if you try it and it does not work for you, is that you received $80 of material for free. That is not risk. That is an extended hand. Now, take a slow breath. I want to ask you to do one small thing before I tell you how to find the link. It is not a sales move. It is a clearing move. Because what is about to happen is a decision, and I do not want the decision to be made from pressure. I want it to be made from stillness. Take one slow breath with me, in and out. Now let your hand settle for just a moment over your chest, if that is available to you, not as a gesture, as a quieting. And ask yourself, not loudly, one question. Do I believe what the Father has been saying to me in this message about who I am? If the answer is yes, then the decision in front of you is not a decision about $39. It is a decision about whether you are willing to carry what he has been placing inside you at the frequency it was built for. If your spirit leans yes, you already know what to do. The link is in the description and in the pinned comment. That is all. Only if you feel led. This is the Genius Song. And now, I want to tell you something I have been waiting to say, because it is relevant to every soul who goes ahead with this. What is about to become available to you on the other side of April 22nd, once your gamma begins to stabilize, is just the first door. Dr. Lake mapped this as a sequence, not a single product. A sequence. Each phase depends on the one before it. You cannot skip ahead. The brain has to stabilize in gamma before the deeper phases of what he has built even become visible. When the next phase is ready for you, it will make itself known. The language will feel familiar. The invitation will feel precise. You will simply know. Trust that recognition when it arrives. For now, the first door. Good, that part is done. Now let me come back up with you, because I told you I would not leave you in the offer. I told you the offer was something I was laying in front of you, not the center of the message. The center is still the window. The center is still the 3 days, and I want to finish walking you there. Take a breath. Let the offer settle into whatever place it needs to settle into. Yes, no, not right now. Curious, whatever your answer is, it is yours, and it is fine. We are moving on. Here is where we are. You have the framework. You have the practice. You have the Esther parable. You have the synthesis. You have the science behind why the practice works. And you have the option of an additional tool if your spirit is drawn to it. That is all structural. That is all information and equipment. And information and equipment are not the same as readiness. What remains, and what we will do together across the rest of this message, is the readiness itself. I am going to walk you into a posture you can carry for the next 72 hours. Not in theory. In your body and your spirit. I am going to walk you up to the threshold of April 20th, as if we were walking up to it together right now. And I am going to leave you at that threshold with a sealing, a declaration spoken over your life that will stay with you long after the window closes. The last 20 or so minutes of this message are the most important part, not because the earlier parts were unimportant, they were essential, but they were preparation. What comes next is the delivery. So, stay with me. What is coming next is the posture, the activation, and the final word spoken over you. Breathe. Let the next part find you ready. Breathe. Let the next part find you ready. We are now in the final stretch of this message. Everything I have placed in your hands up to this point, the Moed, the practice, the parable, the synthesis, the science, has been the building. What we do across the next 15 or 20 minutes is the lighting of what has been built. A room is not a room until there is light inside it. A message is not a message until there is something living at the end of it. That living part is what we are about to walk into. I want to start by doing something practical. Before we go into anything sacred, I want to tell you, in plain language, what to expect across the next 72 hours and the week that follows. Because I know some of you are about to close this message and walk back into your life, and I do not want you walking back in with only a feeling. I want you walking back in with a map. Here is what is shifting for you and how to carry it. There are 3 areas where the Moed will reach you across the window and the week that follows. Relationships, assignment, provision. Each one has a pattern. Each pattern has something you might feel during the shift. Each pattern has something you will be tempted to do and should not do. And each pattern has something you can trust, even when the shift is hard. I will walk you through each one gently. Here is what is shifting in your relationships. People you thought would be in your life in the same way they have been, may not be. Some relationships are going to get quieter on their own. You will not have to end them. They will recede. Phone calls will become less frequent. Texts will slow. And inside of that slowing, you will feel a strange mixture of relief and grief. The grief is not wrong. It is the honoring of what the relationship was. The relief is not cruel. It is the acknowledgement that something was costing you more than it was giving you. Both are real. Both belong. What you will feel during this is a quiet guilt. The guilt of not reaching back. The guilt of not explaining. The guilt of becoming less available without having a dramatic reason to give. That guilt is common among chosen ones. It is also misplaced. You do not owe anyone an essay about why you are becoming quieter. The becoming is the explanation. What you will be tempted to do is force reconnection. You will be tempted to reach back just to prove you are still a good person. Do not during the window. Let the reordering happen. If a relationship is meant to deepen, it will find its way back. If a relationship is meant to fade, trying to hold it together will only delay what the Father has already finished. You are not abandoning anyone. You are letting them be carried by the shift the way you are being carried by it. And sometimes the shift means 2 people walk in different directions, and that is an outcome that is still blessed, even when it is painful. What you can trust is this. Just when you begin to feel alone, people who understand your actual language, not the old language, the new one will begin to appear, not as a flood, as a trickle. One at a time. And the ones who arrive will feel like coming home after a long trip. That is the reorganization of relationships. That is what the Father is doing. Here is what is shifting in your assignment. Something you have been trying to do for a long time will either begin moving or begin releasing. You will notice, across the window and the week that follows, that certain efforts you have been putting out for months start responding in ways they have not responded before. Or, for some of you, you will notice that certain efforts stop feeling like yours. A door you have been trying to walk through will close in a clarifying way, not a punishing way, a way that lets you stop knocking. What you will feel during this is a shifting of energy inside the work itself. Things that felt heavy will feel lighter. Things that felt light but were not yours will start to feel draining. Your discernment is being recalibrated. The Father is showing you which parts of what you are currently building are your actual assignment and which parts were sincere but off. What you will be tempted to do is make large, sudden announcements. You will be tempted to post something, change your job title, make a public pivot. Do not. Not during the window. The shifts in assignment that happen in a Moed are meant to be received quietly first, integrated privately, and announced only when they have settled. A change announced too early loses some of its weight. Keep what you notice close for at least 30 days. What you can trust is this. The direction you are about to receive is not a change of identity. It is a clarification of identity. The assignment you are about to see more clearly has always been yours. You were just carrying 10 versions of it at once. What the Moed does is remove the 9 that were not yours and leave the one that is. Here is what is shifting in your provision. I am going to say this carefully, because money is where we all get scared. The way resources come into your life, not the amount. The way is being reorganized across the window. Some channels that have been delivering provision to you will start to thin. Others will start to open. And the shape of how the Father moves money, opportunity, and material support through your life will begin to look different. What you will feel during this is a temporary fear. The fear will come in the shape of a specific thought. The thought will say, "What if nothing opens?" The thought is a lie. It is a recycling of every old scarcity story your nervous system learned to produce whenever a financial change was coming. Notice the thought. Do not argue with it. Just let it rise and pass without engaging it. What you will be tempted to do is panic open new channels. You will be tempted to post a thing, ask someone, apply somewhere, take a meeting, just to reassure yourself that something is moving. Do not across the window. The provision channels the Father is opening for you are going to open at their own pace, and panic-driven action in the window will place you in conversations with channels that are not yours. Hold still. Let the opening come to you. The ground beneath provision is being reshaped, and you cannot reshape it faster by walking on it. What you can trust is this. The Father has never been confused about your needs. He is not confused now. He is reorganizing. Reorganization is not abandonment. It is the opposite. The season of forcing provision from wrong channels is ending. Something cleaner is taking its place. And for some of you, the new shape of provision will look nothing like what you expected and will be better than what you expected. Those are the 3 areas. Now, and this is the part I want you to hold most carefully. Let me tell you who you are inside all of this, because the shifts will be easier to receive if you know what they are shifting you into. You are the one who sees further. I mean that literally. You have been carrying a kind of sight all your life that the people around you have not carried. You have been sensing things before they happened. You have been noticing patterns nobody named. You have been feeling the weight of rooms before anyone else walked in. That sight is a calling. That sight is not a burden. And across these 3 days, the sight is being sharpened. You will come out of the window with eyes that see further than they did when you walked in. You are the one who ends cycles. There is a pattern in your bloodline, or in your story, or in your circle that has been repeating for generations. You have felt it. You have known, at some deep level, that something was ending with you. You did not always know what, but the knowing was there. The Moed is part of the ending. What has been repeating for longer than your lifetime is not going to repeat through you on the other side. You are the one who breaks the cycle. That is not pressure, that is identity. You are the one who carries the bridge. You are a translator. You are the one who can stand in 2 worlds and speak to both. You understand people who do not understand each other. You see the shape of what is happening between groups who cannot see it themselves. And the Father placed that bridge carrying inside of you for a reason. Across these 3 days, the weight of the bridge carrying is going to settle more visibly into you. Some of you will receive an invitation to play your bridge carrying publicly for the first time after the window closes. You are the one who holds ground. You have a specific kind of spiritual strength, the strength that does not collapse, the strength that holds position when everyone else is running, the strength that stays when staying is hard. You have been tested on this strength in private. You have passed. The window is where the private strength becomes ready for its public use. 4 identities, each one yours. I want you to sit with them for just a moment, because some chosen ones hear identity declarations like this and shrink from them. They think, that sounds too large for me. I am not really that. I am just me. And I want to say gently, those 4 identities were in you before I spoke them. I did not give them to you. I only named them. And the naming does not make them true. Their already being true is what allowed the naming to land. Now let me pause for one more moment with you. You have been listening to this for a long time tonight. Your body has been in a specific posture for a while. Your breath has a rhythm it has fallen into. Whatever you were carrying when you pressed play has been held in the background of these minutes, and you have been carrying it the whole time without putting it down. I want you to put it down, not forever, just for the next minute. Take a slow breath in, as deep as feels natural to you. And let it out. And one more, a little deeper than the first. And out. You do not have to do anything with this moment. You do not have to feel something specific. You do not have to reach for anything. You are just breathing. That is enough. That is the whole assignment of this minute. You stayed. Most people do not stay this long in a message like this. You did. That means something about the shape of your spirit. I want that acknowledged, out loud, not performed, just said. Thank you for staying. The Father has noticed every minute of your staying, every single one. Okay, now I want to walk you into something that is going to prepare you to cross the threshold of April 20th, not as information, as an experience. I am going to ask you to do something in your mind with me. You do not have to move. You do not have to go anywhere. You can stay exactly where you are sitting or lying right now. If you are driving, keep your eyes open and let the images run through your mind without closing your eyes. Everything I am about to walk you through can be done quietly from wherever you are, without anyone around you knowing. Are you ready? Say yes in your heart. Good. In your mind, I want you to place yourself at the edge of a doorway. The doorway is not an image from your life. It is a doorway specifically shaped for this moment. It is wooden. It is old. It is heavier than a normal door. And it is closed. You are standing in front of it. The floor under you is quiet. The walls around you do not matter. What matters is the door. You notice, as you look at the door, that the door has a frame around it, and the frame is lit very faintly, not from a lamp, not from the sun, but from something coming through from the other side. A soft light is pressing through the cracks of the door, not bright enough to see clearly, just bright enough to know something is on the other side. Behind the door is the morning of April 20th. The sun has not risen yet on that morning, but the morning is coming. You are looking at a door that opens onto the exact moment the window opens, and the door is closed. In your hand, you now notice, is a key. You did not know you were carrying it. You were not handed it in this visualization. It has been in your hand for years. You just never looked down. Look down now. In your hand is a key, and the key fits the door. Now, hear this carefully. You do not open the door yet. You are not supposed to. It is not time yet. But you feel the weight of the key in your hand, and you understand that when the morning of April 20th actually arrives, you will use it. Not before, not after. You will stand here with your hand on this key across the next 3 days of your life, and when the hour comes, the key will turn. Stay in front of the door for a moment. Feel the weight of the key. Now, something else I want you to notice. The door does not swing outward away from you. It swings inward toward you. The morning comes to you. You do not go out to fetch it. You open the door, and the morning walks in. The light fills your room. The window opens by moving toward you, not by you reaching out and grabbing it. That is the shape of the Moed. You do not chase it. You open your hand, and it comes to you. Now take one breath and let the image settle. You do not have to memorize the details. The image has already done what it was designed to do. It has placed your spirit in the posture of standing at the threshold with a key, waiting without fear, ready to open the door when it is time. Let the image rest there. Let me name what just happened, because I do not want you to think it was only a meditation. It was not. What you just did was a commissioning. You were stood in front of a door you have already been given the key to. You were told that the key has been yours longer than you knew. You were shown that the door swings toward you, not away from you. And your spirit just rehearsed the posture it will carry across the next 72 hours of your life. That image is not decorative. It is functional. It is the picture your spirit will return to whenever you feel the urge to force or chase or panic across the window. You will close your eyes for a second. You will see the door. You will feel the key in your hand, and your spirit will remember. Remember that it is not your job to open things that have not yet arrived. Remember that the morning comes to you. Remember that the weight you are carrying is the weight of the key, and the key is not heavy. It is just heavy enough to remind you it is there. I want to tell you one more thing before we walk into the final sealing. There is a phrase that has been arising around chosen ones stepping through windows like this. I am not going to explain it much, because it is not for this conversation. It is for a later conversation in your walk. The phrase is destiny's embrace. Some of you heard it just now and felt something click that you cannot yet name. That is fine. That recognition is not meant to be explained tonight. It is only meant to be placed in you quietly, so that when the moment comes for you to meet it, you will not be meeting it as a stranger. For this window, what matters is your posture, the door, the key, the morning coming toward you. That is the image. That is what you are walking into for the next 72 hours. Hold it. Now, one more thing before I close. One small request. If you are ready, and only if you are ready, I want you to do the simplest possible act of commitment. Type the words "I posture" in the comments, not as a performance, as a sealing. You are telling your own spirit, out loud, in a form that will still be visible when you come back to this message tomorrow, that you are not going to manufacture the window. You are going to posture for it. Type "I posture," then come back. I will wait. Thank you. Now, what comes next is not more teaching. What comes next is the sealing. Everything I have placed in your hands across this message has been the building of a structure that one final word is meant to be spoken into. The sealing is that word. I am going to ask you to slow down with me. Breathe more slowly. Let the rhythm of your chest settle. The next several minutes are not meant to be rushed through. They are meant to be received. What you are about to walk through is not information, it is transfer. And I believe it was the reason this message was placed in your hands tonight. Stay with me. We are almost there. Stay with me. We are almost there. Before I walk you into the sealing, I want to simply pause with you for a moment. You have carried yourself through a long message tonight. You came here with a weight, and you stayed through the teaching, and you let the words reach places in you that have not been reached in a while. Most people do not stay this long. You stayed. And I want that acknowledged before we begin the last part, because the acknowledgement itself is the opening of the ceiling. You did not have to stay. You stayed. That matters. And the Father has noticed every minute of it. Take one slow breath with me. In and out. Good. Now, we begin. I want to do something simple first. I want to ask you to notice what you are carrying right now, in this moment. Not to list it, not to explain it, just to notice. There is something you walked into this message with. Some of you came carrying fear. Some of you came carrying exhaustion. Some of you came carrying hope that you were afraid to hope. Some of you came carrying grief that nobody in your life has acknowledged. Some of you came carrying a question you have been trying to answer alone for months. Whatever it is, I want you to picture it simply in your mind, not as a list of things, as a shape, a weight on your shoulders, maybe, a stone in your chest, maybe. Something you have been carrying that the body of you recognizes, even if the mind of you has not named it yet. Picture it. Now in your mind, not out loud, I want you to set it down, not throw it, not cast it off, not push it away with force. Just let it fall. Let your shoulders loosen the grip. Let your hands open. Let the weight settle on the ground behind you, like setting a heavy bag on the floor after a long walk home. It is not coming with you through the window. It does not need to. You have carried it far enough. The Father did not ask you to carry it into the Moed. He asked you to carry it to the Moed, so that when you arrived, you would know what to lay down. Lay it down. Let it stay there. Do not pick it back up. Do not turn around to check on it. Just leave it where it has fallen. There is a reason it was yours to carry until now, and there is a reason it is not yours to carry from here forward. Trust the putting down. You are not alone in this crossing. I want to say that before I go any further. Right now, across the world, other chosen ones are being told about this same window in different voices, different languages, different frames. Some of them are hearing a version of what I am telling you through their own teachers, their own prayers, their own quiet moments in the early hours. A whole generation is being prepared together. You are not walking across April 20th as a lone soul in a dark field. You are walking across it as part of a company of people. The Father has been positioning simultaneously for an hour, just like this one. That should settle something in you. The window is private, the crossing is not lonely. Now I want to speak a final word over your life. I have been carrying this word since I first began preparing this message, and I have been waiting for the right moment to deliver it. This is the moment. I am not going to raise my voice. I want you to lean in, slow your breath, let your spirit come to the surface of your body, close enough to the air of the room that what I say can land on it. Are you ready? Say yes in your heart. And I hear the Father saying over you, one last time, my child, you are not the one I left behind. You are the one I sent ahead. These 3 days were set for you before you had a name. I watched you walk through every season that came before this one, and I was not waiting to see if you would make it. I already knew. I built you for the arriving. I built you to stand at the edge of a window most souls never see, and to walk through it on purpose. Walk across the 3 days the way I named you to walk. Prepared, quiet, unafraid, not performing, not pushing, only present. I will not fail what I started in you. I have never failed what I started in anyone who continued to return their face to me, and you have returned your face to me through rooms where no one was watching. I saw every return. None of them were lost. And when the window closes on the evening of April 22nd, you will know me more than you did when the window opened on the morning of the 20th. That is the transfer. That is the Moed. That is what I have been building you toward for longer than you have known. Walk, I am with you. Let that settle. Do not say Amen yet. I want you to sit in this for one more minute. Do not move. Do not pick anything back up. Let the word the Father just spoke stay in the air around you. Let your spirit finish receiving it. Not every word lands at the moment it is spoken. Some words need a minute to finish arriving. So, stay in this moment for another minute. Breathe gently. If tears have come, let them. If stillness has come, let it. If nothing has come and you are only sitting quietly, let that be enough too. There is no wrong experience of this minute. Breathe. Good. Now, let me speak 3 sentences over you that I believe will travel with you through every moment of the next 3 days. They are short, they are simple, but each one of them has been earned by every other word of this message. You are marked, you are witnessed, you are ready. Hear it again, more slowly this time. You are marked. The Father has set a mark on your life that none of what came before has been able to remove. You are known in the heavens by that mark. It is not something you earned, it is something He placed. You are witnessed. Every night you prayed in silence, every tear you wept where no one could see, every time you chose faith when faith had cost you, every quiet act of faithfulness that no one clapped for. Every one of them was watched. Every one of them was counted. None of them were lost. You are ready, not because you feel ready, because the preparation inside you has completed. The season that shaped you is finished shaping. The vessel is done. The hands are open enough. The brain is clearing enough. The spirit is tall enough. You are ready for the window. Walk into April 20th as the version of you that just heard those 3 sentences. Walk into April 21st as the version of you that was renamed in the hearing. Walk into April 22nd as the version of you that has crossed into the commissioning. That is the sealing, and it is sealed. Breathe one more time, slowly. I want you to sit still for a moment. Do not move yet. Let everything settle. You have just received something that your nervous system, your spirit, and your sense of who you are will continue integrating for the next several days. Do not rush the settling. Now, one more thing, because I would not be honest with you if I did not say it. On the other side of these 3 days, as you begin to stabilize in what the window has handed you, you may begin to sense that there is more coming. Not in a dramatic way, in a quiet way. You may begin to sense that what has started on April 20th was only the first phase of something longer. The language will feel familiar to you when it arrives. The invitation will feel precise. You will simply know. And when that knowing comes, trust it. Do not argue with it. Do not try to push it into a shape you recognize. It will not be the same shape as this message. It will be the next one. Trust the recognition when it comes. For now, though, the next 72 hours are enough. Do not rush past them. You are not leaving a message right now. You are leaving a season. The version of you who pressed play at the beginning of this is not the version leaving. Something in you has shifted in the last couple of hours that will not unshift. You will notice it tomorrow. You will notice it more the day after. You will notice it most clearly on April 23rd, when the window has closed, and you can feel, in retrospect, how different you are than you were when the window opened. Before you go, I want you to do 3 small things, not because I need you to, because they will help carry what you just received further than this moment alone. First, Type the words "I cross" in the comments. Say it with the force of everything you just received. I cross. Not "I will try." Not "I hope." I cross. Type it as a declaration. Type it as a sealing of what your spirit just agreed to. If you can only type one of these three things tonight, make it this one. Type "I cross" now. Second, if this message brought clarity where there was confusion, if it brought preparation where there was panic, if it brought a name to what you could not name, let your like be your amen without words. Press like quietly, the way you would nod at the end of a prayer. Not for me, for the sealing. And so that this message can travel further into the hands of another chosen one whose own window is approaching and who has not yet been told. Third, and this is the last request I will make of you tonight, so hear it well. While I was speaking, someone came to mind. You may not have noticed it at the time, but at some point in the last hour, a face or a name moved quietly through your thoughts. Someone who has been waking at strange hours and not knowing why. Someone who has been quiet lately, not because they are sad, but because they are being prepared. Someone who has been asking the Father for specificity and has not yet received the word. Someone who needs to know about April 20th before the window opens on them. Send this message to them. Text it, email it, message it, however you reach them. Your sending could be the specificity they have been praying for. It could be the difference between them walking through the window prepared and walking through it asleep. This is how chosen ones find each other across generations. Not through announcements, through quiet sendings. One soul carrying a message to another soul before the crossing. Do it tonight if you can. Do not wait until tomorrow. Tomorrow is one day closer to the window, and their preparation needs the time yours had. That is the last request. If you have stayed with me through all of this, and if what I shared earlier about the Genius song stirred something in your spirit that you want to honor, the link remains in the description and in the pinned comment. The same $39, the same 4 bonuses, the same 60-day keep the bonus guarantee. Only if you feel led, no pressure from me. I am handing it to you quietly one more time, because it is the kind of tool I would rather you forget about and come back to later than never see again. That is all. And if this message has been meaningful, stay close. There will be more words placed in your hands in the weeks after the window closes. Different topics, different shapes, but the same spirit, the same care. Stay connected so the next one can find you too. Now, as I close, I want to bless you in the simplest way I know how. The Father sees you. He has always seen you. He saw you before He made you, and He has not looked away since. What you just agreed to tonight is not a small thing. He received it. He received your posture. He received your willingness. He received your staying. None of it was lost to Him. Walk into the next 3 days quietly. Walk into them with the image of the door in front of you and the key already in your hand. Walk into them not performing. Walk into them not forcing. Walk into them present. That is all the Moed asks of you. And when the window closes on the evening of the 22nd, find a quiet moment to thank the Father for what crossed with you, even if you cannot yet name everything that crossed. The thanking is part of the sealing. We will talk again on the other side. And it is sealed. Amen.